The most shocking move we've seen this entire Esports Chess World Cup. What to do but pull a face like that? It was played in this Armageddon game between Jan Krzysztof Duda playing black and Nodebek Abdusatorov with white. And once this is done, we've still got Hikaru to come. Let's take a look because this is not going to take long. White in a must-win situation plays this one. Duda takes the pawn. Has he gone nuts? He just gave up a piece for a pawn. Well, no. The point is, you play pawn d5 and you win back one of those pieces. But Duda, mouse slips.
Black in a mouse slip.
No!
Oh my gosh!
That had to be d5. He had to push that pawn one step forward. Is he going to resign? Jan Krzysztof Duda with a mouse slip. He has eliminated. Unbelievable.
How on earth is chess.com calling that just a miss and not a double question mark blunder? And he loses the game. Or at least he resigns the game, right? Pretty sporting of him. He didn't put Nodebek in that uncomfortable situation. Do I give back the piece and be kind of kind or whatever? How do you do that in a tournament game? At the end of the day, there's big money on the line. Anyway, we didn't have to have that ethical debate because Duda just resigned the game. That's it. He advances to the next stage. So I'll bring you some real chess here with this Armageddon game.
He missed it. He didn't see this.
The kiss of death idea on g7. The white queen is coming. Hikaru panicking again.
Now it's Wei Yi playing with white. Let's show the opening moves here because Hikaru is down on the clock by about 3 minutes, but he only has to draw with black to get the win, right? And he goes for the rock steady, solid Petrov. No way would Yi play this against Wei Yi, a Chinese player who loves this opening. All the Chinese guys do. He goes for this move. Now we see takes. Both players win a pawn. And after pawn d5, surely you take en croissant. This move actually forced in many countries around the world, such as the McDonald Islands, the Heard Islands. There they are, great bunch of lads, still reeling right now after the tariffs that just hit them, but they love their chess, even though they can't export their mackerel any longer. Let's run back. En croissant not played, or en passant if you're new to chess, right? It means in passing in French. It's something you can do on the first move, but not played. That knight is now on prise, but you can recapture with a pawn, and it's not good because you're getting kicked around and it's not a good structure. So we didn't see takes. Instead, the bishop develops, piles on the pressure, so Hikaru does react. Now we see the bishop back up and he hits this square. Loved this structure because black's got 4 pawns here to white's 3, whereas white's got 4 pawns here to black's 3. So that's where they're going to look to attack, usually speaking. This is how the game proceeds. We get Chewbacca's favourite move, the Wookiee one. Now castles. Where's this knight headed? Dad's ashamed. Hikaru erects that big black centre. Knight g3, finally making something of itself. And after rook d8, I'd be expecting one of these kind of moves. But Hikaru doesn't see it from Wei Yi. We get pawn b3. Surely preparing to fianchetto the rook. This seahorse is spawned. But bishop d2 now. b6. Bishop d3. Big Christmas tree on the board or rowing boat, not sure. a6 and now a4. Slightly unusual pawn structure to my eyes. You know, I'd be expecting pawn c3, let's say. There may be some kind of pawn storm over here, especially in a must-win game. But not played. And although you get knight f5 and you win the bishop pair, look at the Hikaru expansion here. Trio of pawns just avalanching down the board like those Game of Thrones dragons. Wei Yi fighting back with the rook pawn, but now pick your poison. Hikaru's got so many nice moves. He goes for the explosive c4. Added bonus, you set up an overpowered camel toe. Now we see takes. Always recapture towards the centre unless it's a bad idea. The bishop backs up. And now this knight rotates around so many juicy squares. It's uh-oh ravioli. We see this move played, logical, as Hikaru would say, but now this is slammed down on the board. Now hang on, can't you take and kind of mangle that structure a bit, start attacking weak pawns? Well, the problem is your knight is dislodged and there's weak pawns here, or you could even take in the center, then take here. Something like this, and black's doing well. This move coming back to bite. So no takes was played. This pawn is attacked, but it isn't defended. Instead, we see knight d4. Nice tactical shot. If you take here, hitting the queen, well, white takes here. Also hitting the queen and threatening takes with check. When the tactics shake out, it's much better for white. So not played. We get knight takes on d4. Queen recaptures. I mean, yes, you can go with the pawn, but black also has a running past pawn in that line. Now this one at least is x-ray defended, or is it? Hikaru now takes that pawn, and I was immediately thinking, hang on a minute, f3. Knight can't move. Where's it going? And then you drop a queen. So you're winning a piece. But this is why I'm sat here. This is why I'm not a grandmother. You can play takes. It's a hanging rook. Split rooks, always bad, as Danny King would say on the excellent Power Play Chess channel. That's one of the ones I first started watching years ago. So don't play the stinky f3. Bishop c2 better to connect those rooks. Now f3 is a threat. So the queen backs up like a dump truck. Why not take? Win a pawn. Come on, surely this is good. This is spearheading now a pawn avalanche. Okay, playable, but actually bishop e6, and with the opposite coloured bishop thing going on, black has excellent drawing chances here. Hikaru was happy with this position. We won't go down the rabbit hole. Coming back here, instead we saw rook a7, the kebab on the 7th, blocked, kept the rooks on the board, did Wei Yi, and now he opens an attack with this developing move. So we see the support given. Big rook party going on now, lots of tension. It's like a teenage disco. Now rook d7, still no exchange. Hikaru offering a threefold repetition, but of course not played for. Wei Yi must win. He goes for the central pawn, and again, this is seriously strong grandmaster chess, right? I think so many of us are looking at something like bishop e6 maybe, and it's not such a bad move, fine. But Hikaru plays this anyway, and he says, fine, take my pawn. You know, why not do this? Well then, this one drops. This is always the thing. Now the line plays out like this because white wins another pawn, but black wins a pawn. But hang on, are you not running into this, losing a piece? Well no, because then there's knight e2 check, supported by the queen. This is excellent calculation from Hikaru. If you come this way, I guess the same thing. Yep. So really, really astute understanding of the tactics. He's incredibly sharp. Now we see this queen come to b7. Does legit defend the pawn. But there's a move that Hikaru probably missed. And this sends him into the old finger bite. What do we see played? Pawn e6. The little pawny that could. Trying to rip open that king. And if you dare to take, bang, you're getting hit with the kiss of death. And it's not one you want. Say you try and save the queen, something like this, get a bit aggressive, blah-de-blah. Well then, that's a checkmate in one. So, do not take the pawn. Hikaru slides on right back. Now we see takes with check. Bishop recaptures. It was a nice way to expose the king, but there isn't quite a knockout blow yet. The bishop starts swarming. Rook exchange offered. Now this one hits the light squares, and after takes, looks like you're really getting somewhere as white, but there's a great defensive shot. Hikaru flicks it out here like a bean. Queen to f6. No idea what I just said, by the way. And the problem here is that you triple attack 3 pieces, right? All 3 musketeers under fire. You just can't save them all. So you have to take off the queens. Pawn recaptures, and because the c pawn's under fire, you now have to go defensive. Presumably then Hikaru could look at things like this at the right moment. He can push this first to save it from the attack. But anyway, shouldn't be losing this position. All he needs is a draw. So Wei Yi takes here. No doubt would have seen it's not a good move, but just trying to mix stuff up. But now after king h2, pawn d4 for the score. And that is a couple of space invaders running down the board like it's the 1980s. The bishop desperately jumps back. Knight saves itself. No, it doesn't, sorry. Bishop attacks bishop using some sneaky stuff. Again, saying fine, let's enter the bishop endgame opposite. No worries. But that wasn't played. Obviously, if takes, knight takes. So we saw rook c5 tried, but now takes. Rook recaptures, knight e4, the bishop saves itself, hit on the rook, which leaps up into the game, counters on the bishop, and what to do. Apparently you should give up a bishop for a pawn. This is the best way to try and fight, but you can never get anything more than a draw here, probably a loss. Not played, instead this was the move, but now pawn d3 and Wei Yi resigned. Because if you take here, pawn keeps marching. Yes, you shed a knight, but you make a baby girl, and once that hits the delivery suite, the opponent's crying. So this was the final position. Hikaru also advances. Alongside him, we had, I think, Nepo and someone else. But that's the fun of YouTube. Always leave them hanging, always leave them wanting more, or something like that. Thanks very much for watching. I'll be bringing another game tomorrow, so do subscribe to see more and have a look at the video on screen for another epic game of chess. Cheers.